In a previous video, I talked about some of the biggest red flags men should watch out for in relationships, and the response was overwhelming. Today, I'm diving deeper into one specific issue that most men still ignore, yet it costs them years of their life and emotional peace. I work in mostly female environments, and I often hear phrases like, "A father isn't the one who conceived the child, but the one who raised them." And when you point out that the child isn't his, you immediately get the same type of response. There's no such thing as someone else's child. Let's take a closer look at whether that's really true. More often than not, women say things like this to push their child onto a man who's trying to join their family. These women usually tell him that he's not the one taking them in with a child. They're the ones letting him into their family. And keep in mind, in about 90% of cases, this family is already broken, something she herself was responsible for. Naturally, the man buys into these words. In a fog of emotion or infatuation, he doesn't really understand what's going on around him. What he cares most about is access to her body, and because of that, he turns a blind eye to everything else. It's important to understand that a woman in this situation isn't looking for a new father for her kids. More often than not, the woman who ends up living with such a man won't see him as someone important. There won't be any real respect. She won't see him as a strong male figure or the leader of the family, and that's just how it is. In that family, she's the leader and the one in control. You're just the guy who's expected to provide, and that money won't be spent on you. Of course, this doesn't happen right away. First, you go through what I call the demo mode. That's the phase where she presents herself in the best possible light to lure you in and get you emotionally hooked. And around 95% of men fall for it. Later, when they finally manage to get out, they're left with nothing, walking away with a broken heart, wondering what just happened. In any case, to the man, that child will always be someone else's. The woman will tell you, "If you love me, then you'll love my child too." But you won't actually be given the chance to do that, because from the very beginning, you'll be reminded that the child has a biological father and doesn't need another one. In other words, she won't see you as the father, and naturally, she won't want you involved in raising the child. And again, that's just how it is. She'll see you simply as someone who brings money into the household and spends it on them. Usually, women like this don't want to build a real life with such a man long term. What they're really looking for is someone who can provide extra income. That way, their own money stays untouched and safe, while yours gets spent on rent, the child's needs, and on her. Because in her mind, the child always comes first. And you? At best, you'll come in third place. First place, of course, goes to herself. Second, the child. And third, if you're lucky, you. So here's my question for you. Do you really need this so-called friend child? If you're looking to start a real family, as I've already said, you won't be allowed to actually raise this friend. Eventually, he'll mock you. After all, he's just a friend. Here today, gone tomorrow. One day he's close to you, the next he's not. That's the reality. You need to understand. Loving a woman doesn't mean you're obligated to love her child. And even if you want to love that child, you won't be allowed to. And that's the core issue. You'll be investing emotionally and financially in a child you're not allowed to parent. You'll be buying him phones, bikes, food, giving him everything, like a friend, not a father. And meanwhile, all the love that woman never got to give to her ex-husband, she'll pour it all into that child. To her, he'll be the best, the most loyal, the most honest, the most precious. That's why, under no circumstances, should you try to take on the role of a friend to her child. In reality, women in these situations usually don't want to have a second child. They understand that if they have a child with you, your attention and investment will naturally shift toward your own biological child. And that's because your own child is your flesh and blood, your real family. Meanwhile, the other kid will gradually be pushed aside. And honestly, that's to be expected. It's also important to understand that the child's biological father is usually still involved in the kid's life. And he won't make things easy for you. You'll constantly be forced to deal with him, and the woman won't do anything to stop that from happening. And you'll never truly become the head of that broken family. When their family fell apart, the child likely experienced emotional trauma, and it's unlikely he'll want his mother to start a new relationship with some new guy. When the child is young, he might subconsciously act out in ways that drive a wedge between you and his mother. He might ask her, "Why is this man living with us?" Or, "Why is he sitting at the table with us?" He might say, "He doesn't like you." That's discomfort and rejection. Because deep down, he knows this new relationship could fall apart too, and that only adds more instability to his life and damages his psyche further. And here's the scariest part. This child could one day run to his mother and say, "That man did this and that to me, touched me here or there," even if none of it ever happened, just to get you out of the picture. And in a case like that, you could easily end up with a police report filed against you and land behind bars, all because the child wanted to push you out of the home he shares with his mom. Kids can come up with anything, and you never really know who their biological father was. Maybe he had mental issues. Who knows? A man should move through life toward his own goals, not chasing after a woman. And especially not chasing after something that doesn't carry his DNA. God forbid, if you ever fall seriously ill, they'll just toss you aside. No one's going to take care of you. Life is unpredictable. Anything can happen, including an accident at work. And if you become disabled, or worse yet, if you sold your own house and put that money into a place owned by your partner, you could end up out on the street. You might be left standing outside a corner store, holding out your hand for spare change. And if you refuse to leave, she'll easily find another guy to throw you out. Or her son, once he's old enough, might do it himself. The takeaway? Even if you think you love this woman, though I question if that's really love, you should absolutely not fall in love with her child. And under no circumstances should you legally register that child as your own. So think it through, not once, but 100 times, before you make any big decisions. I've just shared my personal opinion. Yours might be different, and that's okay. We're all different. Sure, sometimes things might turn out differently, but in the vast majority of cases, things go exactly the way I've described.